Hey everybody, welcome back to Illiterate Book Club. I am Matt.
I'm John.
And this is going to be our review and discussion
of episode 3
of The Witcher. Yeah.
Which we've both been loving it. I know he's been chiming in for the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I'm glad to have somebody to talk off of because I was just...
Before we get started, though, just want to put it out there. Like and subscribe if you enjoy listening to our conversations and reactions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do movie stuff.
We appreciate your support, and especially with The Witcher. We know a lot of you are fans of that.
Yeah, and so you've already went through this entire season. And
I've binged it all the way through.
So currently I'm about to go into episode 5.
Right, but we'll get to those.
We'll get to those later.
So now, episode 3 was called, what was it? Betrayer Moon?
Yeah.
And so, to me, this was my favorite episode.
Yeah, it was really cool. And that's one of the things I was thinking about is in the first episode, I felt like they threw a lot at you.
All right.
Like it just kind of like sink or swim.
World, you know what I mean? Introduction. I mean, all this turmoil. I mean, culmination of stuff that you don't know happened all of a sudden came down.
For sure. And I think the one thing really cool about and this is a completely spoiler thing. I'm not sure if we mentioned that. It's going to be in the thing. So whatever.
If you haven't watched the series, go watch it right now.
Right.
And then come back and watch this.
Yeah, but keep us running.
All right.
But one thing that I really liked about the first one was the action, especially with Geralt. And that whole fight scene was super cool.
And even the war scene was pretty brutal. Yeah,
it was brutal and pretty epic for the scale. And so I liked that in the first episode. And in the second episode, it definitely backed off a lot on the action.
Yeah, a little bit
more of just
political
adventure.
Yeah, it kind of gave you more information about the world.
Right, and so I liked them both equally, but in different ways.
Sure.
If that makes sense. And I even had a person comment saying, "Man, I really missed the action from the first." And I could, when they even said that, I'm like thinking back, I'm like, yeah, I did kind of miss the action. But that being said, I felt even more invested, I guess, just because I'd seen both of the episodes at this point. Right. But this third episode, it really struck a great balance between action and story, and
and it had some great horror elements, and I think that's something that I kind of knew coming into this, that this would have some like horror in it, but this one actually felt like a horror story, in its like basic plot of having this monster that is it comes from a curse. Yeah, it's really a child that's eating people, and it's just awesome. It's something that can kill a Witcher.
They lit things. And, you know what I mean? Like it was really cool and really well done. Yeah. But I think what was brilliant about this episode 3, but well, is that you had Yennefer, her story arc playing off that political kind of stuff still going on.
Right.
Along with who's having more of the action and having more of the action and the horror elements, and it really struck a great balance between the two.
Absolutely, and then you're still getting those little tidbits of why can't I get her name right? The girl Siri. I can never say her name.
I only remember it because now I'm thinking Apple.
Oh, right.
I'm like, hey, Siri.
But it's spelled with a C, right?
Yeah, it's spelled with a C.
Anyway, so you have of course,
they're gonna be correcting us.
I know, right? All right, you have Geralt's story and you have Ciri's story, and they're really solid right now. The only one that for 2 and 3 that I'm kind of disappointed in is Yennefer's story.
Really?
And it's not really because I don't like the story. I think it could have been interesting to see that develop a little more, right? Because it really, we got introduced to her in episode 2, and in this episode we see her just catapult into who she kind of is as a person, and you see her final form, the whole and I thought that was a beautiful scene, the transformation form between the final battle with Geralt and then her doing her operation kind of thing.
That was pretty intense.
And it was really intense, but at the same time, having that aspect of her personality come out where she wants power and she's really wanting to have control of the world around her and stuff like that. You could see it, but I think it just kind of rushed a little bit more than I would have liked.
And I can see that. I think that's kind of falling victim to, and I think I mentioned a little bit to you in the past, but when we did the reaction to her character introduction, they had somebody who's, I guess, a big book fan kind of said they didn't like that, and I was like, oh man, I thought it looked pretty cool, but I'm not a book person, or I haven't read it.
Yeah.
So Anyways, what they were saying though is that you kind of get introduced to her as basically like a jerk or maybe a villainous type character.
Right. Her full formed person.
Right, and you don't understand the human element to her until later on, maybe in a different book or later on in the series or whatever. So you kind of start getting snippets of the past, and I kind of wish that they would have taken that same approach here.
Right.
So yeah.
I'm not going to give anything away for the later episodes, but having seen the way they do this series, it makes sense to me. Like, I get why they did it. You know, like, it would have been cool to see it the other way around, but at the same time,
it makes
her
sense.
role in this, it does make sense to introduce her backstory a little bit for that. So I don't blame them for that much. It just I get it. It's as I think they did it well for what they were trying to accomplish.
Right.
For me personally, I would have liked to have seen a little more build.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that might be kind of why it felt rushed.
Right. But still, I that's a minor complaint to me. This is this episode was amazing in general, and all aside, I really enjoyed it, and I'm a big horror fan in general, horror action and all of that, and I think this one hit that note just straight on. Perfectly.
Yeah, well, so what do you guys think? Drop in the comments section below. Let us know. Have you read the books? Don't spoil the rest of this show for us.
Don't be like the Game of Thrones fans who are just like, I read the books.
I read the books, and, I'm not going to say a spoiler. But anyway. But that being said, like and subscribe, do all the stuff, and see ya.